Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
All right, what's going on, everybody? 11:03 on the day, the morning of the Steelers and Patriots. Can't wait. We're going to get into that. The only reason you want to watch this game tonight is so we can make money off it. So we'll certainly try to go there. Huss is going to pop by here as well. Maybe he had too wild a time at the Winnipeg Sports Talk Christmas gathering last night, a little brown jug. But Huss should be by. Pat Gregoire, I hope, is going to pop by. Huss is texting. Ooh, he's got a little WST parlay. We'll get to that today. Also, Leon Draisaitl, you're dead to me. All we needed was Leon Draisaitl in the EST parlay yesterday. We didn't even have to get a bloody point. We just needed over 2.5 shots. He was not able to deliver. The good news is that the Lock Shop partner parlay hit yesterday. So that worked out extremely well. We were very excited to see that. That was paying plus 500. So hopefully you got in on that bad boy. And Huss, we've been rolling with the football parlays. Nice to mix in a little hockey winner last night, wasn't it?
That was a beauty, man. We were in the middle of our WST holiday gathering.
How was it?
Last night? It was wonderful. It was wonderful. Lots of whole whackload of our regulars. Had about probably of the people that ended up making it, 50 or so of us in the perfect spot at Little Brown Jug. So we basically filled the room. Our friends at BP threw some pies over. DQ Nick came by with a bunch of stuff, and we had a couple nice raffle prizes. People were real generous. I think we'll probably end up, making a donation of like $1,400 to the cheer board. So
beautiful.
It was for a great cause. Everyone had a good time. And as I looked over, knowing that we had the first two in, wasn't too bad to see the Oilers come out like gangbusters and
4 goals in the first. No big deal.
Yeah, no sweater. We had that 7th goal early in the third period. It was overall a great night. And by the way, speaking of the spirit of giving, we got to give a shout out to Patty and Jake and the boys for a very nice boost. That was maybe the best one we've had in a long time. Got it up. And and there was a few people riding with us that were actually at the party too. So it was wonderful.
A bunch of people in Winnipeg, a Little Brown Jug, cheering for the Oilers and Canes to score goals last night. That's why we always say sports betting brings people together. Right, Huss? It just does.
Well, the Lock Shop is right now. I joke death taxes and the partner parlay. We did it again last night. At a perfect time. There's nothing like a nice midweek win.
Oh, it's very nice.
To up the coffers heading into the weekend in the National Football League. And I'm choosing to kind of believe that the week in the NFL really starts on Sunday.
Yeah, it starts on Sunday.
Because this one, my friend, is a full yikes. What?
We had Ian Rappaport on today, and I said, tell us why we would watch this game tonight. And he goes, defensive touchdowns. He goes, I think there could be some defensive touchdowns in this game tonight, and he's starting the Pittsburgh Steelers in fantasy on defense. So he's hoping for Pittsburgh Steelers defensive touchdown or two. But outside of that, man, this is a New England team. I went over the numbers this morning, and we got an NHL slate. I'm hoping I hope Pat's going to pop by here a little bit later on, and we'll have to somehow build an NFL partner parlay for tonight. This game was. So Eric asked me today, because you guys are going to be on over 3.5 field goals. And I was like, first of all, we're always over 3.5 field goals. But second of all, I'm somewhat concerned that these teams don't move the ball well enough to get into field goal position. So, we'll have to see how it plays out. But I'm not expecting much from this football game.
Listen, I'll be very happy if we can get, field goals in this game are going to feel like touchdowns.
Yeah.
If we can get 4 of them, it's plus 120. On the over 3.5. I think everyone would be quite pleased with that, especially when you consider what happened last week in Foxborough with the Patriots being shut out and losing 6-0. I'd love to talk to someone that actually went to that game. Just to tell us what the legendary 6-0 Chargers win over the Patriots was like back in 2023. and especially on a week where there were such awesome games for that one to go down. I mean, no one watched it. No one paid any attention to it. It was pretty much off the radar. But tonight, we can't ignore the Patriots. Well, listen, I think a lot of people will be ignoring the Patriots. They probably won't be watching this game. But, man, Bailey Zappi and Mitch Trubisky in prime time. Not what the NFL thought when they were putting this one on the schedule on Thursday night.
Huss, before we get into the NHL, a good-sized NHL slate today, we'll get into the NFL and the Thursday nighter here. Justin Balgoni says 9-3 Steel Town over the Pats. 4 field goals. That's all we need. I made the under our cool bet hotline of the day today. It sits at 30. I wanted to drop at 29.5 just so we can laugh at a 29.5 in the National Hockey League. Since some people said in some other books you might be able to see it at 29.5. But are you seeing this John Rahm stuff today?
I mean, I've been seeing a lot of John Rahm stuff over the last few days.
Is this a hilarious joke, or is John Rahm joining the Live Tour? And I thought there was a merge coming or whatever anyway. So what's going on here? I'm so confused by all this because we talked about it. You know, we lost some guys to the Live Tour that you're like, oh, yeah, you'll miss them. But, man, John Rahm would hurt. But at the same time, I mean, where's golf headed in the next 2 years? Wouldn't he be back anyway? Like,
you know, if you recall back, remember when Jacques Villeneuve was before he went to F1, he was killing it in the IndyCar circuit. And then IndyCar, which was doing very well at the time, had all this infighting, and it ended up going to IndyCar and the kart series, I believe.
Yep.
Or there's the IRL, I think, in the kart series, whatever. And they basically split and destroyed that entire brand of racing. I mean, it basically became irrelevant. Now, golf's never going to become irrelevant. The majors are going to be big. But, I mean, if they have more exodus to live, like I think we've seen that even with the big names that have come, people really don't care about the Live Tour at all.
No.
So, I mean, John Rahm will be a little bit out of sight, out of mind, I guess. I mean, you'll still have a bunch of the big stars in the PGA Tour, but I really do wonder what this means going forward for, the health of the tour overall. Like, the thing with Rahm is that Rahm did say on the record a number of times, like, they could offer me $400 million. Like, is that really going to change my life for me and my family? Not really. And to me, legacy is important. I want to be playing in the Memorial and Arnold Palmer's tournament and all those things. So I still will be surprised if this does come and happen. Not that who wouldn't leave for $500 million, but just because it does fly in the face of what Rahm's been saying for a number of years. But again, that was all before they sort of had the rug pulled out from under them, and then they were going to merge. Now there's a bunch of antitrust issues with the United States government, with it all being Saudi money. So I really don't know where it's going to end up. I mean, we're going to have tournaments this year, but I'd say that we are in maybe the most uncertain time when it comes to professional golf as far as how things are going to look, where the top players are going to be playing. In a lot of ways, golf might end up being a sport where we really focus in and pay attention for 4 weeks a year. And for the
majors,
Ryder Cup.
And that's it. Yeah. No.
And like, I don't think Live is going to take a big jump forward as far as viewership and whatnot, but I do think that the PGA Tour is probably going to take a pretty big hit unless Tiger plays every week or close to it. And I don't know how realistic that is. Although he did look good last week at the Hero.
Just taking a quick peek here at a couple of stories that popped up on this. This is one from themessenger.com where Mike Tenier, who's one of our NFL guys on our show, he works over there. It says it was reported that Liv has offered Rahm, the reigning Masters champion, $600 million to join the promotion, which would be the largest contract of any golfer in Liv. Now, Liv and the PGA Tour have a deadline of December 31st to agree to terms on a merger, and people are viewing the Rahm signing as basically like an insurance policy for Liv. So that if this merger doesn't go through, they say, well, we've got John Rahm, so nah, basically, right? So maybe some pressure on the other side here for the PGA Tour to maybe move things along in more of a desperate manner than they were before. So
yeah, I don't know whether they really can do that right now. Jay Monahan is just in the worst possible situation. Because I mean, when they brokered that deal, it was essentially survival for the tour, and they cut out all the litigation, which was going to bankrupt them anyways, and move forward. But it doesn't seem like that's entirely possible. We might get back to square one. And yeah, you're exactly right. John Rahm moving to live would be huge.
yes, it would.
And
that'd be the first time I'd kind of be worried about the PGA Tour. I'm just like, damn it, that one stinks.
Yeah,
that one stinks.
I mean, there's a lot of things that I actually love about the Live Tour, to be honest. Like, I think they've done a terrible job of really promoting the team aspect of it. Like, if you ever watch, and I have watched some Live, I mean, it's more like looks like an F1 scoreboard on the side.
Yeah,
but they do a poor job of letting you know, well, okay, these are the team standings. Well, why are they? Well, Brooks Koepka's in first place. Well, why is Smash GC in 8th? They really don't focus on the fact that the other guys 8 over or anything like that. Like, all of that should be done. I like the fact that they wear shorts. I like the fact that they, it's a lot looser, and some of the events seemed really good. But Live could take over the rest of the world, and then the PGA Tour would still be the preeminent North American tour.
Yeah.
But again, if all the money goes to Live, the players are going to follow the money. And hey, the big winners on this are the golfers, because there is no way in hell you can justify, like, there's not enough money in the sport to come even close to paying the guys what they're getting for their services right now. So listen, if there's a big bidding war for the top players in the world, they'll benefit from it. But the sport overall is in a terrible place right now. And the ability to see the best players playing against each other on a regular basis seems to be getting less likely by the week.
You can message us anytime in the nasty chat. Of course, you can text us as well at 780-218-9999. I do see a few Oilers fans in there wondering with Broberg being sent down to the minors, Gleason getting the call up. We'll get into that on Two Guys and a Goalie today, coming up at noon with myself, Cass, and Gager, as the Broberg situation continues to roll along here.
Speaking of that, let me ask you about that. How old is Broberg? When was he picked?
Broberg is draft year +4, I think. So he's around 22.
So is he like Edmonton's version of Logan Stanley, a guy that was picked sort of high that just hasn't cracked the lineup and is not a regular and is looking for
you? I think you just kind of summed it up, Huss. I think you just sort of summed it up. Like, he has played parts of 3 seasons with the Oilers, 23 games in 21-22. 46 games last year, had 8 points, has played 10 games, gets like 12 minutes a night. I think he's not happy that, he's kind of fallen behind Desharnais on the depth chart. He is a lefty. They usually try to play him on the right side when he does get in. I see reasons for him to be frustrated, but this is a guy that you took 8th overall in 2019. He's only played 79 games in the National Hockey League. You don't know what he is yet. I don't know how much interest there be about him. And then, there's mixed reports here in Edmonton, and Casaravali said that he'd been granted permission to seek a trade with his agent, and then Ken Holland told Rashog that no permission was granted, and then the agent said, well, this is what frustrates us with the Oilers, and yada, yada, yada. They still came out and spanked Carolina last night 6-1, but looks like Broberg's been sent down, and will go. He's been loaned to the Condors to go down and play a little bit, I guess. So we'll see.
Get a little bit of time in. It was funny because Big Stan has been in that situation here in Winnipeg, and Declan Chisholm's now up at the club. He's no longer waivers exempt. He's gotten into a couple games recently. And Billy Heinola, who broke his ankle at the start of the season, is going to be like, he'll play for the Moose for a little while to get back into game shape. But in the new year, he'll be ready to go. And the Jets cannot carry 9 defensemen.
No. So something's got to give.
Something's got to give, and Villy can still go to the Moose as waivers exempt, but I think they want him on the club. I think he was going to be in the opening night lineup in the top 6. So Bruce Garriott was reporting that teams are kicking tires and sniffing around on Logan Stanley, so maybe he'll be gone. The bottom line is I know the Jets would love to keep all these guys if they can, because as we all know, if you're going to make a long playoff run, the decor gets depleted and you need 9, 10, 11 guys if you're going to make a long run. But I think there is the other shoe's going to have to drop at one point, and I don't think that they're going to be able to hold on to all of those guys. So who knows? Maybe Broberg and Stanley will find new homes in the next month or so.
All right, Huss, what do you got for that Winnipeg Sports Talk parlay that I saw trickle into the text line there?
Well, we're gonna go a big one tonight. We may as well kind of transition.
Yeah, let's hit the NHL here, right?
Busy night in the National Hockey League, but huge one for the Jets. Dallas lost last night to Florida. So the Jets, if they can beat the Avalanche in their first matchup of the year, they will jump Dallas into second place and get to within 2 points of the Colorado Avalanche. And when you compare to the hot play lately of the Wild, of the Blues, of the Coyotes, while the Jets are looking good, they're at 30 points. There's a lot of teams right around them. Although there's another big gap before you get down to the teams that are outside of the wild card looking in. Nashville at 26, Calgary 23, Kraken 22, and there's the Oilers at 21. Although with only 23 games played, 5 wins in a row, just goes to show you how terrible that start was. I mean, they were sitting on 2 wins for the better part of them.
Yeah, they've won 5 in a row, and look where they are right now, right? Like, that's how bad it was.
They're going to have to do that a few times and they cannot go into any extended slumps where you're losing a few games in regulation. You got to get it to overtime. And listen, the Oilers, once they get it to overtime, will look good. But holy smokes, what a start last night. I mean, the game was barely even started.
2-0 a minute in. Yeah.
And Rod the Bod looked like he had seen a ghost or something. I don't know if you saw that second one went in. He was like, what's going on?
Did you catch his interview with Darren Pang?
No.
So Panger was on the bench, interviewed him on the bench. I was surprised. He did the interview. It was like 4-0 or 5-0 at the time. I can't remember what Panger asked him, but Brendan Moore was like, "Well, we're gonna lose like 50-0." So he goes, "This is the worst I've ever seen this team play, like on TV, on TNT, during the broadcast, on the bench, right behind his players." And they're going into Calgary tonight, and that's going to be a pretty ornery. Has to be. For Carolina to lose in Winnipeg and then lose here. I like the spot against the Flames tonight. I'll say that. They're minus 136 favorite there. But to see in-game interview Rod Brindamore absolutely losing it on his club, it was highly entertaining from the Oilers' perspective. I think that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Okay, well we can kind of pencil in Carolina for a bounce back game tonight. Tough spot for Calgary to be in, watching that happen, knowing even though you're getting a team on the second end of a back-to-back, this is going to be a team that will be in a state to put that one behind them and get a big win. How about this line? Arizona minus 107 at home against Philly. Like, the Flyers, the Flyers have been good this year.
The Flyers are in the playoffs. They're third in the division right now, right?
They're third in the division. They're a point up on New York. It's so close. I mean, you got Washington 2 points back with 3 games in hand. Islanders 1 point back with a game in hand. Jersey coming along a little bit as well. They're 3 back with 2 in hand. So by winning percentage, they're probably out. But, I mean, they're still finding ways to win. They're coming off back-to-back wins in the extra time against Pittsburgh. But, man, I mean, all we've been talking about is Arizona just being this wrecking crew that has taken apart the last 5 Stanley Cup champions in consecutive games. And they're playing at home. I mean, what am I missing? I would have thought that the Coyotes would be a little bit more of a favorite than basically a pick'em.
Yeah, that's a good point. What is their home record? I want to look this up. I'm going to dive into it a little bit more here. Hang on. That is interesting. If anybody
8-4 at home.
What are they? 8-4 at home?
8-4 at home. Philly on the road is 7-4-1. So Philly has actually
good road record
on the road.
Good road record. I mean, that's pretty darn good value on a red hot Coyotes team, though. I don't mind that if we're looking to build a quick little NHL parlay here. If we like that spot play on Carolina and throw the Coyotes in there just based on the value alone. I mean, that alone, let me see. I got Carolina. Those two games together are plus 236. And we got a lot of other games that we can actually sort of dive into here. What else jumps off the page for you tonight?
Just going through these right now. Dallas, having lost their last couple of games, they're right back at it tonight against the Washington Capitals, who are back after that ugly road trip that they had out to California. Minus 153 for Dallas, although I don't know whether that's a great spot to get them. Leafs and Sens. That'll be a beauty tonight. The Leafs minus 121 favorites. Ottawa plus 103. Jacques Martin bump. A little bit of momentum coming out of that big win over the Rangers a couple nights ago.
They got that 7 for a total tonight, too. We can move that down to 6.5 and take the minus 144 if we wanted. It's minus 144 to go over 6.5. I don't know both sides in that. But Toronto is interesting. We have one guy who's always chiming in on our chats, pointing out how the Leafs just don't win in regulation, like all year. They've got like 5 regulation wins or whatever, right? So
if you look at it right now, regulation wins in the league, the Leafs are the worst in the entire league.
That's
Chicago,
crazy.
Montreal, and Toronto. 5 regulation wins. And then you look at the Leafs and they've got 12 wins, which means 7 of their 12 wins have come in overtime or shootouts.
Yeah. It's wild. It's wild, man. What about this Minnesota-Vancouver game? I mean, I'm just curious for your thoughts on it. I'm not suggesting we throw either side of it into a parlay here. But that's an interesting one with the Canucks, the way that they've been playing. Minnesota is actually coming up here tomorrow, so it's the first half of a back-to-back. The Canucks are minus 121 at home. Minnesota plus 103 on the road. Spency 5 cents, he says he's going to sprinkle the Kings, Devils, and Canucks over 3.5 team goals on a parlay at plus 833. So that's an interesting one, Spency. I like that, man.
All those teams to get 4 goals or more?
Yeah. Kings, Devils, and Canucks. The Devils are in Seattle. Canucks is an interesting one. The Minnesota Wild have actually played much better defensively as of late. I just like the creativity of putting together a little over goals parlay, Spency. So I give you credit for that one. Yeah.
Well, I mean, listen, the Wild, much like the Oilers, are in the midst of the new coach bump. They've won 4 in a row. And they were in a very similar situation. I mean, they were sitting there at 5 games under 500. I mean, they're still 8 points back of the Jets. But they played 23 games. I guess they do have a couple games in hand, at least on St. Louis and Nashville, who are ahead of them. I will say this. I'm sort of expecting the Wild to come back to earth. I just don't think that they're deep enough right now. Their goaltending has been terrible. But again, much like the Oilers, if all of a sudden a guy mixes in a couple saves, these teams can actually start winning some games. Yeah. And that's what's happening right now with Vancouver. And Vancouver coming off that 6-5 loss to Jersey in the Hughes Bowl the other day.
Well, quickly on Jersey, because Seattle has lost 5 in a row. New Jersey has won 4 of 5. And in doing so, they scored 7, 5, 4, 3 in the loss to San Jose, and then scored 6 against the Canucks. The Devils tonight are minus 149 favorites on the road in Seattle. Do you want to fade the Kraken in a bit of a parlay, or do you think 5 losses in a row here? I mean, something's got to give at some point for them.
I'll be honest. I mean, I'm kind of liking Jersey right now. I mean, the way they're playing, everyone's healthy, everyone's back, and they're in another one of these situations where, like the Oilers, I mean, they're still 6th in the Metropolitan. They got a lot of teams to climb.
Yeah.
And to be frank, I don't think Seattle's very good. I mean, they had that crazy season last year where they managed to make the playoffs despite having really subpar goaltending. I think it was maybe a little bit of a mirage right now. I mean, they've got the 8 wins on the season, and they're right there. Oh, they're another team with 5 regulation wins. But if you look at what Jersey's done since Jack Hughes is back and a number of these players, they had that ugly loss last week to the San Jose Sharks at home. But outside of that, 7-2 win over the Sabres, 5-4 over the Islanders, 4-3 over the Flyers. and then 6-5. I mean, that's a team that's putting up a ton of goals right now. And you combine that with Seattle, their goaltending. I like New Jersey in this one. And to be honest, if we looked in, speaking of Spency.
Well, you know what, Huss, I was just going to say, over 3.5 goals for the Devils tonight is plus 104, as opposed to the money line at minus 149, which I think is better value because I just don't see New Jersey winning games like 2-1 and 3-2 right now. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to score goals.
Exactly. They might give up a few, but they're probably going to score as well.
That also covers us if they blow it and lose 6-5 somehow. And that would put it up to 585. If we went Carolina minus 136, Arizona minus 107, and the Devils over 3.5 goals plus 585.
I like it.
Yeah.
That'll start with a 6.
Yeah.
That'll start with a 6.
Yeah, that'll be bumped up over 6-1. So I do.
There's a ton of games here. I mean, is there any other ones that we sort of like? I mean, Anaheim, Chicago. I think I'll take a pass on that one. Here's what about Tampa in Nashville? Tampa plus 116, and Tampa has come back. What was the final last night in their game? They won
3-1 last night.
3-1.
They've won their last 2 games 4-0, 3-1. Problem is
8-1.
Nashville's 8-2 in their last 10. And their losses were to New York and I think Minnesota in first game new coach. So Nashville's
not that good. Well, Nashville's just not that good.
I don't know how they're 8-2 in their last 10. So do you like that better than anything else we got on the board here? Like,
no, you know what? I think maybe we'll just do that as a separate wager.
Yeah.
Like for our partner parlay, I'm with you. I mean, Carolina to come back and beat the Canes after they probably had the shit beat out of them in the dressing room by Coach
Rod Brindamore literally beat the crap out of them.
And then we'll just keep riding with the Coyotes. I mean, they're at home against Philly, minus 107. Doesn't make sense, but I think we'll take it. It's a great line. And then Jersey to score 4 or more against Seattle.
Okay, so let's make that happen. I don't know if Ev Dog or Jake are watching here, but that's what we'll do. Carolina, minus 136. Arizona, minus 107. And shout out to Spency 5 Centsy for getting us in on the over 3.5 goals on the New Jersey Devils. That takes it up to plus 585. I would think we probably get like a plus 625-ish boost on that one. So watch for that. We'll see.
Hey,
yeah.
There is one other game and one other thing we haven't talked about. We should look into the lines. Patty Kane's debut as a Detroit Red Wing tonight.
Against the San Jose Sharks.
Against the Sharks. And I'm looking against the red hot San Jose Sharks. Let's give them their due after just saying that they were an American Hockey League team all this time. Kane is minus 187 to score a point.
No. I'm on board. I say Patty Kane over 1.5 points at plus 260.
I was going to say under 0.5 point at plus 139. What? It's his first game.
I know, but he's going to put him in a good spot, aren't they? Do they say it's like, is he going to be out there with the Brinkat? Is he going to be on the power play? Let's look into this. Hang on. Let me see here.
Oh, I'm sure he will. I'm just not sure that it clicks like right away in game number 1.
Well, then let's just go head to head on this. You fade Pat Kane tonight because it's plus money, and I'll take him over 1.5 at plus 2, whatever it is, and we'll see how it plays out.
That basically guarantees him just to get 1 point.
Yeah, exactly.
Both of us take an L.
That is what's gonna. Yeah. So if you're smart, everybody, just bet Pat Kane to score 1 point exactly. Yeah. He's on, at least according to Daily Faceoff. Lucas Raymond is still with Larkin and Fabry. DeBrincat, Joe Veleno, Patty Kane. And then let me just see special teams. I mean, you're not going to get Pat Kane and not put him on your first unit power play. And he's on the first unit power play with Larkin, David Perron, DeBrincat, Ghost Bear, and Kane. Yeah, I'm on Kane over 1.5 points tonight. Let's go. Let's see him make a triumphant return to the National Hockey League. Of course, both his hips could give out on him here right away, and he might not finish the game. But we'll see. We'll see.
All right. Well, that'll be a fun thing to look back at tomorrow in the lock shop. By the way,
yeah.
we haven't really talked about this Jets-Colorado game tonight. We just sort of mentioned big game for Winnipeg. We do have a WST parlay. So if you click on the exclusives, you'll run down at the bottom underneath the lacrosse ones. There's the Winnipeg Sports Talk parlay. And big one for the Jets. We're looking for Jets money line. They're plus 113. Shifley, Connors, Ehlers, and Morrissey all to record a point.
Oh,
at
boy.
least a point. So essentially, we're looking at that top line, their top defensemen. Shifley, Connor, and Ehlers looked amazing in that game against Carolina. They're really starting to feel it together. They'll play a lot. They'll be key individuals on the power play. Josh Morrissey's going to play a ton. So for you WSTers, if you like that one, plus 600 in the exclusives as we jump on that. And hopefully we'll get that lock shot partner parlay up relatively soon as well.
As I mentioned earlier, Leon Draisaitl not being able to get 3 shots on goal last night cost us the EST parlay. So that was frustrating. Yeah, that one pissed me off last night. We hit everything else super early, and it was just like, hey, come on, let's go. And Draisaitl could get nothing. Yeah, not good. Shoot the puck, man.
Well, and the thing is, I mean, you don't really need to do that as much when you're cruising with a 5-goal lead.
I know. I knew. And there's very few power plays in that game. Kind of came back to bite me in the butt on that one. But we hit the lock shot partner parlay, which is always nice. So
is Ryan McLeod the talk of the town again?
Oh, but he's on a heater.
That empty netter.
He's on a heater.
An empty netter in Winnipeg, and now it's just he's on a roll.
Took him less than 30 seconds to score the next game. I mean, off the schneid for sure. All right, we've delayed long enough. Steelers, Patriots. Let's bring in Pat. He's just been anxiously waiting. He's like, let's get to the Thursday nighter. I'm trying to bring Pat in. Hang on, my mouse might give me some issues here. Maddie, I might need you to come bring P. Greggy in. Oh no, I got him. We're good. Pat, what's up, buddy? How you? Yeah, exactly. Are you already watching the game?
Oh, what an awful football game this is going to be. With that being said, though, we're still going to bet it. This is a personal challenge. The under 30, 100%.
100% under 30, man. Like I said, the most scoring, like it would be a high scoring game, Steelers 16-10, right? But the Patriots aren't scoring 10 points. They haven't scored 10 points in a month. So
no, they're not. And it's crazy. I'm shocked at this number. So not touchdown scores. If you go to touchdown, so total touchdowns scored in the game, set at 2.5 right now, which is nuts. But the under 2.5 is plus 125. I love that. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see a single touchdown scored in this.
Did you say under 2.5 touchdowns this game is what?
Under 2.5 touchdowns is plus 125.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful.
I've already taken that. I'm on the under. I'm on the over 3.5 field goals because it's a primetime game, but that's at plus 120, which is kind of surprising. This is going to be an ugly, gross game, but sometimes the ugly, gross games are the ones that are fun to bet on, man. It's going to be gross. We're going to be sick to our stomachs at time, but I think there's an opportunity to still make some money here.
Is there a prop on number of punts?
Oh God, I don't think so, but I don't think the number could be high enough.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's no way the book can set a line that high. There's no way they can get a number that high. Like, I mean, it's gonna be tough even to build a part. Like, we're gonna have to take a bunch of unders maybe on that. Now, mind you, the player prop should be adjusted for what we're expecting to be a very low scoring football game here. So we should be able to hopefully find some value on that one. The line was 6. It's at 5.5 right now. I mean, it's going to be such a low-scoring game. Huss, do you have a hot take on a side here tonight?
I mean, I think I'd take New England.
Of course he does.
I think I'd take New England. I mean, hey, listen, I'll give myself – I have been on the right side of the Pittsburgh Steelers almost every game this season, and I jumped on Arizona last week. I didn't think they were going to win, but I certainly didn't trust Pittsburgh at home to cover 5.5 against the Cardinals. Why the hell would I feel any better about them with Trubisky in against the Patriots?
The only reason I would say that is because we know Kyler Murray can at least do something, right? Like New England's last 3 games, they scored 6 points in a 10-6 loss to Indy. They scored 7 points in a 10-7 loss to the Giants, and then they were shut out 6-0 by the Chargers. Like, I don't know if the Patriots, like, I'll be pretty surprised if they score 10 points in this football game, honestly. Right?
Yeah.
But will they allow more than 13, right?
That's what I'm saying. I think they can still cover. And that's why, I mean, we're talking about a total that's 30. Like, I mean, 13, 10, 10, 9, 9, 6. I mean, that's
3-0.
Guys, like the Army Navy game is this weekend and it's 27.5. Like, this is criminal how low this is. And I'm still going to bet the under because we might see more offense in the Army Navy game between two academy teams that both still run the triple option. Like, this is gross. This is going to be a gross.
Pittsburgh, you know what? It's funny you bring that up because I was thinking that Pittsburgh might turn into one of the military academies tonight and literally just give it to Jalen and Najee on pretty much every play and send the defense out there and say, hold it down, play field position.
You know what? I just thought of something. I'm going to see if the fellas can do this. A head-to-head prop, more points scored, Patriots Steelers or Army Navy this weekend. I think I might have to put
I thought you were going to say Maple Leaf Senators tonight.
There's a damn good chance that could happen. I could see that being a 7-6 final.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, that would be funny, actually. Who scores? What's more points tonight? Leafs, Sens, total goals, or whoever wins this game? Points.
I mean,
whatever many points. That could be close. That could be close.
Be really close.
Yeah.
That could be really close.
You could get creative with some multi-sport parlays today.
No doubt.
Comparing this one to the others. This is the lowest total, I believe, in the NFL in over a decade.
Yeah. Yep.
And the one thing, and Jake rolled this out, I mean, for these primetime games or just games that have had totals under 34, I think, they're going like over 80% to the under. Like, they basically can't make these numbers low enough for how bad some of these teams are when it comes into offensive football.
All right. Well,
I guess we have to build something, do we not? Well, I think we do. And
I'm already looking at Trubisky, Trubisky under 180.5 yards. Like, when you look at, if you were to look at, Huss, you just said Pittsburgh might just run the ball. They got two pretty decent running backs. If you just look, last week was tough with Pickett, but I'm just looking at Pickett's game log. Over the last, you go back to October 29th, 73 yards passing, 160 yards passing, 126 yards passing, 106 yards passing. In the win over Cincy, he did have 278 yards passing. But prior to that, I mean, he hadn't had a sniff over 160 in 5 of the last 6 weeks. And they got the number in Trubisky sitting at 180.5 right now. I don't see there being a path to him getting there when Pickett couldn't even get there 5 of the last 6 weeks. You know, like, that one to me is something that really stands out. What do you got? What do you guys like for these props?
Sorry, you go ahead, Pat.
No. I mean, you already mentioned his name, and I like a lot of the running back stats, to be honest, like props here, like Jalen Warren over 51.5 minus 133 to throw that into a parlay. I really think that the Steelers just feed these two backs. Harris is at 52.5. I lean more Warren, although Warren has been used as a pass catcher out of the backfield, but I don't know how much really, like you were just saying there, Dusty, how much we see Trubisky throw the ball. So I like that there. Ezekiel Elliott, even at 57.5 at plus 100, you got to think, and this is a good opportunity for him with Ramondre Stevens out with an ankle injury. He's going to get the rock a lot more. Bailey Zappi doesn't really inspire me that he's going to go out there and throw it across the yard. Heck, I wouldn't even be surprised if we see Mac Jones in the second half at some point in this game, depending on how things are going. So, any 3 of the rushing yards for these running backs, I could get behind for sure. Not to add it to a parlay, but I'm just looking here. No touchdown score for the game, 16-1. I love that. I'm probably gonna bet that right now. No touchdown scored at all. 16-1.
Well, you kind of have to do it, right? Like you kind of have to tonight. I think
It's gonna be a 9-6 final. It's gonna be a 9-6 final.
Yeah, I just was looking up because you mentioned, I think sometimes we might be, we're crazy to take both running backs from one team over 51.5 yards. But Pittsburgh, Najee Harris, in 4 of his last 5, he's been 63 yards or more on only 14, 15, 16 touches. So he would cover that number. And then Jaylen Warren in those same games, 9 touches, 59 yards, 13, 49 yards, 9 touches, 129 yards, 15 touches, 101 yards, 11 touches, and 88 yards. So I guess what I'm saying is that this has happened like 5 of the last 6 weeks that both of these guys have had more than 50 yards rushing. And this could be a game where the script is run the bloody ball against the New England Patriots and just sort of grind this thing out. So, I mean, I don't even think it's crazy if we were to put both of them on there, even maybe move them both down a little bit and throw it on there. Huss, what are you looking at for props here?
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, I was basically thinking the same thing. I guess I had one concern. I think if I had to lean between one of the two, I was thinking Najee, just because he consistently gets the touches. The crazy thing about Warren is, though, when you look, I mean, 2 of his last 3 games, he's only had 9 carries. Well, he's gone over 50 yards in both of them.
Yeah.
59 yards on 9 carries against Arizona and 129 on 9 against Cleveland, mixed in a big 74-yarder. He probably has the opportunity to break bigger plays than Najee Harris does, but Najee seems to be getting the ball a little bit more consistently. Listen, there's plenty of under probabilities. Like, what are the receiving yards totals here? Devontae Parker, 40.5, Pickens, 39.5, Jaylen Warren, 17.5. That's an interesting one. Freiermuth, 26, Zeke, 15, and Deontay Johnson, 41.5. I mean, these are the lowest numbers I've ever seen. like the biggest number for any receiver in an NFL game, 41.5 yards. And there's probably still going to be a bunch of unders on this list.
Yeah, it's going to be an ugly one, but again, it's going to be fun. You don't have to sit there and watch the entire game. Maybe have it on as your second screen because there's so much good hockey on tonight.
And there's in-season tournament semifinals in the NBA.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's a good night to make a dent in your couch. That's no denying that. But as someone who watches a lot of college football, and I'll be the first one, I love college football. But there's some ugly, gross, disgusting games. There's some low totals when you've got, Iowa taking on Minnesota, or like we're seeing this weekend, Army, Navy, run the ball. This is going to feel a lot like a Big Ten football game. So I'm taking that. I think I haven't made my parlay yet. A Watt sack will be in there. 3.5 field goals will be in there. And I'm going to try to find something else to throw in there as well. I kind of want to keep to the gross, nasty football theme. So if anyone in the chat has an idea, an ugly bet I can throw in there, I'm all ears.
I'm just looking at the Zeke numbers. Zeke had 17 carries for 52 yards last week against the Chargers. 9 for 46 against the Giants. 13 for 54 against Indy. And then 6 and 17. Again, that's when Ramondre was there. Zeke's total for rushing is 57.5, minus 120 to the under. Like, what if we look at this, guys? Under 30.5, because we're gonna have to get it on one side, so we'll take it to 30.5. Under 180.5 Mitch Trubisky passing yards, and under 57.5 for Zeke. We always say life's too short to bet the under. It's all about the unders in this. I think we should have a partner parlay that literally is exclusively unders in this game.
Of course,
I don't hate that idea.
It'd be nuts to take it over. Lay that out for me one more time, Huss. What did you say it was? It was
the total in the game under 30.5.
Okay.
Mitch Trubisky passing under 180.5.
Yeah.
On the Steelers side, and Zeke under 57.5 yards rushing. Like when I put it in, and I don't know how correlated those are. Like, keep in mind, this is a little different than just kind of building our own, money line parlays from hockey games or whatever, but it says plus 554. So we'll probably be in the 500 somewhere, I'd imagine, with that.
Yep. I mean, I kind of like Zeke's over. I think it's going to be right around there. To be honest. I don't know if we want to maybe tease it up a little bit, but again, like
I'd feel a little bit more comfortable if we tease it up a bit.
Yeah, me too. Because I liked the over, and that's just because he's going to get more touches. But when you do lay it out like that, Huss, you bring up a great point. I'll be honest, I didn't really dive too much into the numbers as much as I normally do, because I mean, you type in the numbers and your computer laughs at you and says like, no, these two people stuck. You're not going to watch. You're not going to want to watch this.
Well, I mean, the one thing that I expect the Steelers to basically come out and say, we're stopping the run.
Mm-hmm.
And Bailey Zappi, go ahead.
Fair point.
You want to throw it on?
Very true.
Yeah,
very true.
Like I just kind of think that's going to be their focus. It's not like they're going to be like, oh, there's going to be all these massive running lanes, because they're worried about the high octane passing offense of the New England Patriots.
Zappy hour.
That's a Zappy hour indeed. I mean, but yeah, we could. I mean, listen, it's 57.5. You want to take that 60.5, 62.5 or something. I think
like 60.5 would be more than fine.
Yeah.
So as long as he finishes in
the 50s,
or 60 on the nose.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay,
yep.
Let's do it. So under 60.5 for Zeke. Under on Trubisky at 180.5, and then in the game under 30.5. If this game ends up being 30-27, I'm going to lose my mind. I mean, I don't know how that'll happen. I just don't see it. It's just that bad. So yeah, we'll see how. Okay, all right, I like that. So that ended up being a pretty good number there as well. And then of course we're on the. I said today. Obviously, everybody with Edmonton Sports Talk knows all about our primetime field goals. And I said today, man, I'm almost kind of worried, because I'm not sure these teams are going to be able to move the ball into field goal range. You know?
I know
That might be why. What'd you say? It's plus 120. We're still getting on it, and it should. I feel pretty good about it, but I also worry that the offense is just to keep, like Huss said, give us a punt number. Like let's cheer for punts.
So the only thing with that, and I think Jake was on here a couple weeks ago talking about it, when you have like criminally bad offenses, you also expect some turnovers. So maybe there's a red zone, there's a pick in your own end, there's a fumble that gets you inside field goal. I just, for me, I think we're going to get to the field goals again. Every week I say that, so take that with a grain of salt, but just putting together my primetime parlay, because we didn't go with one of the Steelers running backs, I'll take one of those props. So I'm going to go TJ Watt to record a sack, over 3.5 field goals, and I'll take Jalen Warren 50 plus rushing yards. Probably be around 450 if I had to guess. So that one will be up in a little bit too.
That'll work out all right then as well. Perfect. Well, hey guys, enjoy the game.
We'll try.
Let's hope we cash this partner parlay, man. 2 nights in a row. That'd be nice. Let's do the double dip hockey and football tonight. That'd be fun.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got the hockey again. What are we? We're on Carolina, Arizona money line.
Devils over 3.5 goals.
3.5 goals.
I like that.
And then for football, it's the underfest. Under 3.5. Trubisky under 180.5. Zeke under 60.5. And we'll get those up. And then we do have a Winnipeg Sports Talk parlay that might have more action and total than this entire football game.
I would almost guarantee that. Fellas, Huss, I know you got to get going, but it's the 3 golf crew together. I think we got to at least touch on the big live news.
Yeah, we hit on that right off the top. But Patty, where do you come out on it, man?
Yeah.
We're talking about the trade between the Smash and Range Goats, right? That's the big live news.
Was there a trade too? Oh, come on, man.
Matthew Wolf for Taylor Gooch, the outright winner of Live Golf, who pretty much just destroyed it for Matthew Wolf, who has literally cannot find himself right now. So again, it's just like, how is that a fair trade?
What
it's clearly what's that?
I said, what a scam.
I know.
Gooch for Wolf?
Yeah, I know.
This must be why John Rahm's joining Liv. That must be what's going on here.
In all seriousness, I mean, I think this is a pressure play. Again, I apologize, didn't hear in earlier, but I think it's a pressure play from the PGA, or sorry, from Liv, basically saying like, you have until December 31st to sign that agreement for the merger. And a lot of, I know we thought like it was set in stone. There've been a lot of speed bumps here. It hasn't been signed. The merger is not official until that is signed. I think this is Liv's way of saying, well, if you're not going to sign that agreement, if we're not going to merge, we're going to start purging some players. And the first to crumble, and arguably maybe one of the biggest outside of Rory, I think you could make a strong case to go out and get him and pay him that much money, man. Like, this could be huge. This could be massive.
Well, especially since he's been on the record saying like, hey, how much money do I need? Like, is $400 million going to change my life from what I have now? No. Like, there'd be a lot of people saying, oh my God, what a hypocrite. Yeah. 400 million, no, but 550, I'm in.
My guess is that Rahm figures that this deal's going to get done. And he's like, well, we're going to be getting paid from these guys regardless.
I would hope that's what it is. I hope that's his angle on it. Yeah,
that's what I think. I think that's the angle. Who knows? We don't know. But it's crazy that I know there were some rumblings yesterday. Pretty remarkable that it really did come out, and it sounds like it's going to be official. But yeah, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff.
I'll be quite interested to see what he has to say the first time when he has to answer a few questions about making that move if it happens. Although there is rumors that he's going to get his own team too. And again, I don't think for a second these teams are worth what people are trying to tell us they are right now. No. But if the merger doesn't happen and all the money's on the Liv side of things, it wouldn't be a bad thing to have it. Is Rahm going to get the range goats? Or no, maybe the Ironheads. Kevin Na, you're out, buddy.
Well, the range goats are in shambles. As a lifelong range goats fan, I've already said I'm done. That was the final straw. I'm a Smash GC fan. They've got Brooks. They've got Gooch now. Take my money.
Yeah, sell high on Gooch. That's what they did. They sold high on Gooch.
Wolf basically got kicked off Smash GC
Gooch while you can. Move Gooch while you can. He'll never be the same again.
You know what? I'll tell you what. We really should do. We should just dive into Liv big time this year. We can start our own Liv cast because no one really talks about it. No one pays attention to it. Maybe we will be the pioneers.
Let's market the corner.
Maybe the Saudis would have a few million for us.
Yeah. You know what? I would never go there. I would never go there for $2 million. But if they offer 5, we'll do it. That'd be great. All right, Huss. Winnipeg Sports Talk, big Jets game tonight. Obviously, you'll be teeing that up today. That's perfect. Pat, we'll catch up with you tomorrow. You got NLL stuff this weekend? Are you going to be able to join us tomorrow? Are you good to go? Or
I should be. If not, Jake will tag in, but we'll let you know.
All right. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Big Friday tomorrow. Big Friday tomorrow, boys. Let's go boys. Unders. We'll see you then.
See you later. All right, welcome to the worst Fantasy 5 of the season. Starting nobody on the Patriots tonight. I mean, maybe Zeke. Probably not, though. I hope you're not in that spot. If you have any questions, for example, Double 3A on the Nasty Chat says, which 3 do I start? But you didn't give me the options. I got to have the options, man. All I see is which 3 do I start? I don't even know who your players are. So let's get to that. Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, the presenting sponsor, our NFL partners. Join Lieutenant Eric tonight for the Thursday nighter. He'll have his merry men out there and Renee at the casino tonight. They'll be watching a little NBA hoops action. They got the ponies going, the dogs, a bunch of stuff going on at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge on Fort Road. Tonight, we are also planning our Super Bowl party already out there as well, which should be a pretty good time. Hopefully we can pack that place for the Super Bowl. Have some prizing stuff. Team up with Century Casino for that one. We got a couple of questions I've rolled in. You got a little bit of time to do it right now. Very little time, like 3-4 minutes. Here we go. 780-218-9999. Goddard or Freiermuth at tight end this weekend. I've always been a big fan of Freiermuth. And actually, you know what? I'm a little bit of a sick puppy because when we were setting our parlay there on all the unders, I was sitting there going, I kind of like Freiermuth over 2.5 catches tonight. You know, you're bringing in Trubisky. What's Trubisky going to look for? He's going to look for his tight end. With that being said, what is the current status of Dallas Goedert? I don't really want to start anybody on either offense with the exception of probably Jalen Warren and Najee Harris. Goddard is expected to play this week. That should be, I mean, if Goddard's playing, you're starting Dallas Goedert. And I mean, we'll see how he factors in. Freiermuth had a huge game. I will be honest, I'm a little sour on Freiermuth because he had a huge game last week. I had him on the bench or 2 weeks ago. This week he sucked a big one, and I had him in the lineup. So that's a tough spot, but I would probably look. You want your guys in that Dallas-Philadelphia game. That is going to be a high-scoring affair. You want a piece of that game, and that would provide it for you. 780-218-9999. Hey, Dusty, I have Jalen Warren, Calvin Ridley, Downs, Gavis for one flex position, 12-team, half-point PPR. What say you, Rick in Jasper? Like I said, I don't really want to roll with anybody in this game. I want to see Downs' game log lately. How's he been involved with what they've got going on and with the Red Hot club with the Colts? 5 targets, 13 targets, 3 targets, 9 targets. Don't necessarily love that one either. I know I'd probably go Calvin Ridley. And I don't love CJ Beathard. I don't love I don't love that either. This is a tough call. But I just look with Christian Kirk out, it should be a steady diet of Ingram or Calvin Ridley. But there might not be a lot of points in that game. That's another one of those low games. I feel like by default I'm talking myself into Gabe Davis. But the Chiefs defense doesn't allow a lot either. But Buffalo's going to have to score some points here, right? Man, this is a tough call. Thank you for texting in and probably ruining the rest of my day thinking about the advice that I'm trying to lay out for you here. Coming off a big one against Philly, isn't he? He's been targeted 12 times in 2 of his last 5. I don't know. I mean, I'm honestly just going to sit here. I don't know what I would do in this one. If I was just looking at the players and not the matchups this week, I would tell you it would probably be Jalen Warren, Calvin Ridley, Gabe Davis, Downs. But they're all in such horrible matchups. I'll go Davis. Let's go Davis. I'll say Gabe Davis. Let's ride out with that. Check back in next week. Flex spot, Moss, Pickens, or Aaron Jones. I'd probably go Moss in that situation. There's AA. There they are. Which 3 do I start? A-Chain, Robinson, Kamara, and Gibbs. Woo! Nice work. Congratulations on all your success. Half-point PPR. I honestly, you're good wherever. I think all 4 of those guys are going to produce this week. A-Chain screwed me last week, 2 touchdowns. Should be in a pretty good game again. Whatever 3 you want, man. You're in a really good spot there. As a Lions fan, I'm going to say you're going to start Gibb. I probably, on the full-blown upside potential, A-Chain, Kamara, and Gibbs are probably the wiser decision just because Robinson's been so hit and miss. But how do you not start Bijan Robinson when you probably took him in the first bloody round? So do with that what you will, but I don't think you'll be disappointed if you did just go with Kamara, Gibbs, and A-Chain in that spot. All right, lots of good discussion. As for tonight's game, Freiermuth, if you have to, probably okay with I could see all 3 running backs in this game ending up being somewhere as RB2s, like lower end RB2s this week. So you got that going for you. You're not touching either quarterback. I don't want any receivers on the Patriots. I don't even really want any receivers on the Steelers tonight either. So should be a great one. Can't wait. All right, on the way next, 2 guys and a goalie. Broberg sent down. Is that the last you see of him with the Edmonton Oilers? We'll get into that with myself, Cass, and Gager. That is all coming up here on 2 Guys and a Goalie. Don't go anywhere.